Welcome back. Today quarter $1,971. The depths of American numismatic history. Certain coins rise beyond their face value to capture the imagination and the ambition of collectors across the world. The 1971 Jefferson nickel, struck in a year of cultural shifts and evolving technologies, has steadily become one of the most sought-after coins among enthusiasts, not because it was made of gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of its symbolism, rarity and pristine conditions, and the stories it silently carries from a different era. This isn't just a coin. It's a time capsule, a mirror into the American economy, minting technology, and historical progression of everyday currency. This Jefferson nickel, marked with the humble date of 1971, has grown in stature beyond what its creators might have imagined, now claimed in high-end collecting circles to hold a symbolic face value of $71 million, a reflection of its legacy, mystery, and cultural worth rather than just monetary value. To understand how this seemingly ordinary coin reached the heights of collector fascination, we must journey back to 1971, a year that stood at the crossroads of tradition and transformation in the United States. The Vietnam War was still casting a shadow over the nation. NASA was propelling mankind's ambitions beyond Earth's orbit, and the American public was starting to experience rapid changes in technology, media, and lifestyle. Amid these national transitions, the U.S. Mint continued its essential task of producing currency that would travel in the pockets of millions of Americans. While many coins circulated that year, the Jefferson nickel held a special place, partly due to its iconic image of Thomas Jefferson and partly because of the evolving precision of minting processes which set certain strikes apart from the rest. The 1971 Jefferson nickel was struck at multiple mints, most notably the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from both locations have attracted collector interest, but the Philadelphia strike holds particular prestige among specialists due to a combination of factors. One of the critical reasons for this attention is the inconsistency in strike quality, a result of aging dies and experimental adjustments in the coining process during the early 70s. As a result, finding a Jefferson nickel from 1971 in flawless, uncirculated, or full steps condition, a term referring to the crisp detail on Monticello's steps, is extremely difficult. These subtle variations, unseen to the average eye, are like buried treasure maps to numismatists. What pushes a 1971 nickel from pocket change into the realm of high-value collectibles is its condition. The rarest of these nickels exhibit perfect clarity and are graded highly by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. Coins graded MS67 or higher, especially with full steps designation, have fetched astonishing prices at auction. They command thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, and in collector lore, there's always the legend of a perfect specimen, untouched, unknown, and possibly worth millions. These narratives, passed along collector circles, have helped elevate the mythos around the 1971 nickel, building an aura that continues to grow with each passing decade. Then there's the curiosity of error coins. The U.S. Mint, despite its technological prowess, has always produced a small number of error coins. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets from 1971 are extremely rare but do exist. These variants are a collector's dream, not merely for their rarity, but for what they represent, a deviation in a system designed for perfection. Among 1971 Jefferson nickels, the discovery of a dramatic double die or a clean off-metal error coin could catapult its value astronomically. The thrill lies not only in owning such a piece but in discovering it, hidden in a forgotten box or inherited collection. What adds more mystique to this particular coin is its role in American iconography. The Jefferson nickel had been in circulation since 1938, but by the 1970s, discussions were brewing about redesigning American coinage. This period became a kind of sunset moment for the classic Jefferson Monticello design in its purest form before later modernizations. Thus, the 1971 nickel, minted during this in-between era, has the weight of tradition pressed into its small metallic surface. It carries both nostalgia and the seeds of change, making it all the more valuable to historians and collectors alike. The rise of the internet and digital marketplaces in recent years has brought coins like the 1971 Jefferson nickel into renewed prominence. Once limited to local coin shows and small clubs, collectors now have access to global audiences. Online bidding wars, social media posts showcasing rare finds, and digital grading reports have created a more informed, competitive, and enthusiastic collector base. A coin once sold for a few dollars in the early 2000s now finds itself at the center of five-figure auctions. Speculation grows. Stories spread. Value soars. Some of the most fascinating tales surrounding the 1971 Jefferson nickel come from those who found them in unlikely places, an old desk drawer, a forgotten coin jar, or an estate sale purchase. These stories, repeated again and again in numismatic forums and YouTube videos, continue to ignite the dreams of casual hobbyists and serious collectors alike. They remind everyone that treasure still circulates among us, and that everyday objects, when viewed through the right lens, can transform into priceless relics of the past. Much like fine art or vintage wine, the value of coins is often shaped by intangible qualities: rarity, historical significance, beauty, and the passion of those who collect them. The 1971 Jefferson nickel has achieved its mythic status not solely through scarcity but through the collective desire of a community that sees beyond the metal and the mint. They see stories, history, and the thrill of the hunt. The coin's value, now popularly associated with a symbolic face value of $71 million in numismatic lore, is an emblem of that cultural and emotional investment. Investors and coin enthusiasts looking toward the future see the 1971 Jefferson nickel not just as a collector's item but as a tangible asset. As fiat currencies face uncertainty and as alternative investments gain traction, rare coins offer both historical prestige and financial stability. Unlike stocks or cryptocurrency, they are physical, hold intrinsic and cultural value, and represent centuries of human commerce and civilization. For those collecting not just for profit but for posterity, the 1971 nickel is a cornerstone, an heirloom in the making that in the coming decades, coins like the 1971 Jefferson nickel will likely continue to gain in stature. As surviving examples become fewer and the coin community continues to grow, prices may rise beyond current estimations. Museums, private collectors, and historians will all compete to own the best specimens, especially those with verified high grades or historic provenance. What was once change handed out at a grocery store will become a centerpiece in the world's finest collections. The fascination with this coin has spilled over into pop culture as well. Featured in documentaries, discussed in podcasts, and examined in numismatic literature, the 1971 nickel has become a minor celebrity among U.S. coins. Even casual coin roll hunters and novice collectors are aware of its allure, with many beginning their collecting journey by searching through everyday nickels, hoping for that one lucky find. It's this hope, this everyday dream, that sustains the coin's legacy and ensures its place in collecting culture. More than just a small circular piece of metal, the 1971 Jefferson nickel represents continuity in a fast-changing world. It's a snapshot of 1970s America, of minting tradition, of evolving economic thought, and the eternal human instinct to preserve, collect, and attribute meaning. As its story continues to be written, with new finds and valuations constantly emerging, the coin's worth continues to transcend its original intent. And now, as this journey through history, legacy, and value reaches its close, remember that the story of coins like the 1971 Jefferson nickel isn't just about the past, it's about the present moment and the future we build through preservation and passion. This legendary nickel, now etched in numismatic folklore with an emblematic face value of $71 million, stands not just as currency but as a symbol of the incredible, hidden wealth of history waiting to be rediscovered in our very hands. If you enjoyed this dive into the fascinating story of the 1971 Jefferson nickel and want to uncover more legendary coins, be sure to like this content, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins worth big money in American history. Stay tuned, because the next coin could be even more unbelievable. Next today, 1980 quarter dollar. The vast expanse of American numismatic history. Certain coins rise to legendary status not because of their denomination or how many were minted, but because of the stories they carry, the anomalies they reveal, and the rarity that collectors dream of. Among these is the 1980 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might seem modest at first glance, but has increasingly captured attention in the world of high-stakes coin collecting. The 1980 Jefferson nickel, minted during an era of transition, technological development, and shifting minting techniques, tells a story that connects the past with an ongoing legacy, offering more than just monetary value. It offers historical richness that keeps collectors awake at night. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, the coin's design was intended to honor America's third president, Thomas Jefferson. Featuring his portrait on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse, it has become one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. But by 1980, more than 4 decades into the series, the United States Mint was undergoing major modernization efforts. The late 70s and early 80s marked a pivotal moment where the quality, consistency, and technology of coin production saw marked changes, and this transition would have a ripple effect in every denomination, including the nickel. What makes the 1980 Jefferson nickel particularly fascinating isn't just that it belongs to this long-running series or that it was minted during this transitional period. What makes it stand out are the error coins, the unexpected anomalies, the near-perfect strikes, the full steps designations, and the small batch that emerged with distinct characteristics that are nearly impossible to replicate. Over time, these unique features have helped this coin rise from common pocket change to a treasure worth tracking down. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced millions of Jefferson nickels in 1980, notably did not include a mint mark that year. On the other hand, Denver minted nickels bore the D mint mark, and San Francisco struck proof coins with the S mint mark. It's in this spread of mint locations that we begin to see the divergence in quality and rarity. Proof coins from San Francisco, made specifically for collectors, often show more precise detail, but they were never intended for circulation. In contrast, Philadelphia and Denver coins were mass-produced and thus more prone to errors or inconsistencies. For those deeply entrenched in numismatics, the full steps designation is a holy grail when it comes to Jefferson nickels. Full steps refer to the staircase in front of Monticello on the coin's reverse. To achieve this designation, the steps must be sharply struck and uninterrupted by wear, marks, or weak strikes. Only a small fraction of 1980 nickels meet this standard due to worn dies and high production speed, making such coins exceedingly rare. Collectors who find a 1980 Jefferson nickel with full steps are holding a piece that could sell for thousands, depending on the condition and mint location. There have been examples graded MS66 or higher by top grading companies like PCGS and NGC that fetched 4-figure prices at auctions, and their value only continues to climb with increasing scarcity. But there's another layer of intrigue. Certain 1980 Jefferson nickels are known to display striking errors, off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or die cracks. These types of errors result from mistakes during the minting process and are often caught early and removed from circulation. However, a few slip through the cracks. These flawed coins are coveted by collectors because they represent a snapshot of a malfunctioning system, offering an inside look into minting anomalies. Depending on the clarity and degree of error, such coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in private sales and auctions. Then there's the story of the missing edge or weak strike nickels, coins where the details are so faint due to worn dies or misaligned presses that the coin barely resembles its intended design. While most people would consider these defective and throw them away, collectors see them as unique artifacts, each one telling a story of its creation under imperfect conditions. The more mysterious the error and the more well-preserved the coin, the greater its potential worth. One such coin that created ripples in the collector community was a 1980 Jefferson nickel from the Denver Mint graded MS67 with full steps. It sold for over $3,000 at auction. Another from the Philadelphia Mint, though lacking the mint mark, was preserved in pristine condition and showed a doubling in the legend, a rare doubling error that is often overlooked by amateur collectors but instantly recognized by seasoned numismatists. That coin alone sold for nearly $5,000 due to its rarity and clear error designation. Collectors are increasingly combing through rolls of nickels looking for that one jackpot find. What fuels this obsession isn't just the chance of turning 5 cents into thousands of dollars, but the thrill of discovery, the feeling of uncovering a hidden gem that others have overlooked. And that's what makes the 1980 Jefferson nickel so fascinating. It bridges the gap between common currency and valuable collectible with elegance and mystery. Interestingly, the broader economic landscape of 1980 adds more historical significance to the coin. The U.S. economy was experiencing high inflation, interest rates were rising, and there was uncertainty in global markets. The American dollar's value was in flux, and coins like the nickel were being evaluated not just for their face value but for their metal content. Although the Jefferson nickel had long been made from a cupronickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, changes in metal prices occasionally sparked debates about redesigning or replacing the coin altogether. That context gives the 1980 nickel an even deeper meaning. It represents stability in a time of volatility, and there's something symbolic in that. The Jefferson nickel, bearing the face of a founding father who championed democracy and innovation, quietly endured through decades of change, from the Cold War to the birth of the digital age. The 1980 edition, in particular, stands as a reminder of how even the smallest objects can hold great historical weight. It's a silent witness to an America at a crossroads, and in that sense, every 1980 nickel is a time capsule. Private collectors, coin dealers, and auction houses are constantly on the lookout for premium examples. The rise of online marketplaces has made the buying and selling of rare nickels more accessible than ever. Listings for 1980 Jefferson nickels with full steps or unique errors often receive bids well beyond initial estimates. Graded coins, particularly those encapsulated by PCGS or NGC, are valued more highly because of the confidence these certifications provide. If you find a 1980 Jefferson nickel in your change, it's worth taking a closer look. It could be a hidden treasure. As of recent years, trends show a steady appreciation in value for high-grade or unique 1980 Jefferson nickels. Coins that would have sold for $105 years ago are now commanding $500 or more. Market watchers and collectors are speculating that as the supply of high-quality examples dwindles due to hoarding or damage, the demand and price will continue to soar. And then there's the legend. In coin collecting circles, stories persist about an ultra-rare 1980 Jefferson nickel that was struck on a foreign planchet or one that was mistakenly minted with a proof die in the wrong facility. These are whispered tales, yet to be conclusively proven but often cited when discussing the potential of this coin. Whether or not these coins exist in private hands or remain buried in forgotten vaults is unknown, but the mystery fuels curiosity and increases perceived value. Because of all these unique circumstances, the transitional period in minting, the variation in strike quality, the rare errors, the full steps finds, and the rich historical context, the 1980 Jefferson nickel has become more than just a 5-cent piece. For those who understand its significance, it has a perceived face value of $80 million, not because of what's printed on it, but because of what it represents: rarity, history, and the endless potential of American coinage. It is these stories that keep the numismatic world alive. It's the thrill of finding a coin in your pocket that could be worth more than your car. It's the silent prestige of owning something only a few others have. And for many, it's the joy of tracing American history through the medium of metal. Every detail, whether it's the number of steps on Monticello or the faint doubling in Jefferson's name, matters. Every anomaly is a revelation. Every perfect strike is a masterpiece. So whether you are a beginner with a magnifying glass and a pile of change, or a seasoned collector with a climate-controlled vault, the 1980 Jefferson nickel should be on your radar. And if you come across one with full steps, a rare error, or near-perfect preservation, know that you may be holding on to one of the most underrated but valuable coins of the 20th century, and who knows? Maybe it's your 1980 Jefferson nickel that will set the next record at auction. Maybe it's sitting in a jar right now, waiting to be discovered. All it takes is a careful eye, a little knowledge, and the belief that small things can be worth big money. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this fascinating journey into the hidden world of coins. Your next great find could be just around the corner. And remember, the 1980 Jefferson nickel isn't just a coin. It's a $80 million legend in your hands. Next today, 1994 marked an era of subtle transformation within the long-standing Jefferson nickel series. Though it wasn't immediately obvious to the average person who used these 5-cent pieces in daily commerce, collectors and numismatists would later come to appreciate the 1994 Jefferson nickel as an emblem of hidden value, an unsung treasure with stories buried beneath its simple metallic surface. While countless nickels passed through the hands of millions that year, only a few would eventually be recognized as symbols of immense historical and financial worth. As we dive into the legacy of this coin, we embark on a journey through a world where what once appeared ordinary became, through time and rarity, something extraordinary, the Jefferson nickel, introduced in 1938, was initially seen as a replacement for the Buffalo nickel. Felix Schlag, the designer behind the now iconic image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, unintentionally created a coin that would become one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By 1994, the Jefferson nickel had already endured over 5 decades of circulation. But the 1994 version held within it more than just the legacy of past decades. It symbolized a moment in numismatic history where commonality crossed paths with scarcity, and where face value clashed with collectors' ambition. The minting process in 1994 was straightforward by modern standards. 3 major facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and San Francisco Mint, were responsible for the production of Jefferson nickels. While billions of coins were produced overall, only a select number from this mintage would survive in pristine condition. Even fewer would develop unique characteristics, such as striking errors, off-center production, or double dies that would catapult their market value to incredible heights. Each of these traits helped turn an otherwise typical coin into a numismatic legend, and in doing so, they wrote a new chapter in the ongoing saga of U.S. coinage. The 1994 Jefferson nickel wasn't released with any celebratory fanfare or unique mint mark to set it apart. It wasn't a commemorative coin or a special edition. In fact, it was about as routine as any other year's production. Yet therein lies its appeal, the mystery of how something so unremarkable on the surface can become the centerpiece of auctions, coin shows, and private collections. For collectors, the search for mint state or proof variants from this year has become something of a modern treasure hunt. Coins that escaped the abrasions of circulation and retained their luster, their sharp relief, and their original beauty are now regarded with an admiration bordering on reverence. What truly sets the 1994 Jefferson nickel apart is the evolution of its perceived value. Initially worth a mere 5 cents, as with any circulating nickel, some versions of the coin, especially those with full steps on Monticello or flawless finishes, began to command prices exponentially beyond their face value. The concept of full steps, referring to the visible and uninterrupted stair steps leading to Monticello on the reverse side of the coin, became a pivotal marker for grading quality. Coins with 5 or 6 full steps often receive the FS designation from grading services, dramatically increasing their market price. For the 1994 Jefferson nickel, FS specimens in high mint state or proof condition can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but even beyond condition and aesthetics, there are the myths and realities of the ultra-rare variants. Coins struck on the wrong planchets, such as a Jefferson nickel accidentally minted on a dime blank or even on a foreign coin planchet, have been verified and sold for exorbitant sums. These anomalies represent minting accidents, but within the world of numismatics, they are revered artifacts. A 1994 nickel with a double die obverse or a dramatic off-center strike can fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Combine one of these errors with high grading and exceptional eye appeal, and you may be looking at a coin valued far beyond traditional market charts. The rise of internet auction platforms and social media coin communities has amplified interest in the 1994 Jefferson nickel and similar coins. What was once an esoteric pursuit limited to coin dealers and specialized collectors has now exploded into mainstream curiosity. Videos, posts, and online auctions showcase this seemingly humble coin trading hands for thousands, reinforcing its place as one of the modern sleeper hits of American numismatics. In recent years, more attention has been drawn to specific grading populations. Coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC publish census reports detailing how many 1994 Jefferson nickels have achieved certain grades. With only a limited number reaching MS 67 or higher with the FS designation, the scarcity becomes obvious. When scarcity meets demand, especially when combined with condition rarity and collector enthusiasm, the results can be explosive. And that's exactly what's happened. Some elite examples of this coin have reached private sale prices reportedly approaching 6 figures. Behind every 1994 Jefferson nickel lies a narrative of chance. Some coins were tucked away in rolls or jars by people who never thought twice about them. Others spent decades in circulation, weathering the trials of daily commerce, until sharp-eyed collectors noticed their hidden potential. Each survivor, especially those preserved in impeccable condition, represents a tangible connection to history and a testament to the intricate world of minting precision and error. but how do we make sense of a face value of $94 million attributed to this coin? It's not a literal valuation of course, but a symbolic one. The idea of a 1994 nickel being worth $94 million is a tongue-in-cheek nod to the stories, myths, and explosive growth of coin collecting culture. It's an imaginative expression of value beyond numbers, a reflection of how society can elevate everyday objects to mythic proportions. Some ultra-rare coins, like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, have sold for millions. The 1994 Jefferson nickel joins these ranks in spirit, if not in literal dollar value, and in the minds of collectors and enthusiasts, this elevation makes perfect sense. Coins are not just money. They are historical artifacts, physical evidence of culture, design, and national identity. The 1994 Jefferson nickel, in all its versions and varieties, is a chapter in the long story of American currency, one marked not by its original worth but by the meaning we've assigned to it over time. Coin dealers and collectors often describe holding a rare Jefferson nickel as holding a piece of frozen time. A well-preserved 1994 specimen takes us back to the events of that year, the economic trends, the technological shifts, the cultural milestones. It's more than just nickel and copper, it's a token from the past. And if that coin happens to be a rare error or a top-graded gem, its value transforms from nostalgic to monumental. The allure of the 1994 nickel doesn't only live in past transactions, it continues to unfold. New finds emerge from estate sales, old collections, and even spare change. Each discovery breathes new life into the story, making this coin a living legend rather than a relic. As time marches on and surviving specimens become fewer, the 1994 Jefferson nickel's story only grows more compelling. Collectors often share their discoveries online, sometimes finding coins in their own possession they didn't realize were rare. These moments of sudden realization, when a common coin becomes a jackpot, are what keep the numismatic world vibrant and ever-evolving. The Jefferson nickel from 1994 embodies this spirit perfectly, an ordinary object with extraordinary potential. Its legacy is etched not only in the grooves of Monticello or the contours of Jefferson's profile but in the excitement it stirs among those who hunt for it. From grandparents passing coins to their grandchildren to dealers hosting live auctions, the journey of this nickel continues. Each transaction adds to its lore, and each collector contributes to its mythology. As for those who dream of finding such a coin, the hunt remains as exciting as ever. Whether searching through coin rolls, visiting flea markets, or studying online sales, the 1994 Jefferson nickel keeps hope alive for treasure seekers. It's a coin that proves something doesn't need to be golden to be priceless. So the next time you come across a nickel, give it a second look. Perhaps you'll spot the telltale signs of full steps, or a rare mint mark, or a striking anomaly. Perhaps you'll discover that the seemingly simple coin in your hand is, in fact, a 1994 Jefferson nickel worth far more than its humble beginnings suggest. And if by chance you come across a flawless example, with that smooth metallic sheen and perfect detail preserved against time, you may just be holding the next legend in American numismatics, a coin whose story is still being written and whose value, both monetary and historical, continues to climb. Make sure to like and subscribe for more incredible stories like this, where pocket change becomes prized treasure and where the smallest coin can hold the biggest secrets. And stay tuned, because next, we're diving deep into the mystery and hidden value of the quarter dollar, a coin that, like the 1994 Jefferson nickel, might just change everything you thought you knew about everyday money.